Thank you, Mr.
Senator McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. Acting Deputy President. $300 million of taxpayers' money matters, Mr. Acting Deputy President. It matters in terms of how that money is spent, what is going on, and the questions. One of the things that we're hearing a lot here is the fact that there are so many unanswered questions, Mr. Acting Deputy President. Too much ducking for cover, too much ducking and weaving. Who is responsible? Who is telling the truth and who is not? These are questions that the Australian public need answers to. We're not getting those answers. When you think about Western Australia and you think about almost 300 communities in WA which were set for closure, when people's lives were being questioned in terms of the remote areas of that place and where they were going to go, how they were going to live, when we see a budget here in the federal parliament of nearly $500 million that is cut to services, of course we have to ask, Mr. Acting Deputy President, what is happening to $300 million? It's all very well for ministers and members opposite to say that in the statement by the Attorney-General all questions have been answered, when in fact they haven't. What they've done and what his statement has done has shown that there are so many more critical questions that need answering. What was the understanding reached between WA Treasurer Dr Mike Nahan and Mr Hockey over the federal government not intervening to challenge the legislation in the High Court? What has Mr Hockey said in recent days, even in response to what is going on here in the parliament? What role have other government office holders played in this? Why did the Federal Social Services Minister go to see Senator Brandis about this matter in early March? What did the former WA Treasurer put to the Attorney-General about the issue? Now remember, we are still talking about taxpayers' money and the extent to which the Attorney-General was involved in legal proceedings designed to recover this. These are very valid, critical, important questions, not only to the Senate, not only to the Parliament of Australia, but to the Australian people. Why does the Attorney-General say he only became involved when the former WA Treasurer, now Social Services Minister, talked to him about it in March? This is despite the Attorney-General being represented in an early High Court hearing of the matter on February 8. Was the Attorney-General somehow unaware of any of the facts in a High Court hearing where he was being represented? It is absolutely murky, totally murky, and as the Senate, the House of Review, we have to ask these questions. As uncomfortable as these questions may be to members opposite, to the ministers in the Australian government, to the ministers in the West Australian government, they are questions that must be asked and must be answered. Now, previous speakers have spoken about the Labor Party's supposed fixation on this issue. Well, clearly we know that it's important. It is not comical to not know what is going on here. It is not comical to see a former Solicitor General have to resign from his position when he stood for particular values about accountability and transparency and obviously giving the legal advice that was required, competent legal advice that was required in this situation. These are the things that do need examination. To hear members opposite throw it away as though we have an obsession on this side of the House to belittle the importance of questioning these matters says more about the members opposite and says more about the disrespect that is being held in terms of the Australian people's money and the way it should be spent, especially when there are Australians out there who are needing resources, who are needing to know that they are supported in their infrastructure, in health, in education and in housing. Mr. Acting Deputy President, so many more questions to be asked, and we will certainly keep the members opposite on their toes in regards to this issue.